What's going on, partners? Today we're going to be taking another look at the Los Angeles County Probation Oversight Commission, a commission that's comprised of mostly civilians, but not just any civilians. The civilians that comprise the majority of this commission are civilians that our government likes to call systematically affected people. In other words, prior criminals or criminals. Today we're going to be taking a look at Dolores Canales. This is her right here. She is the vice chair of the Oversight Commission. And at first glance, she looks like a nice little tia, but this little tia has a past. But don't we all? Well, Ms. Canales is a 5-time convicted felon. Most of her crimes were drug-related, and she did 20 years. She did 20 years in state prison for those crimes. She is also married to a convicted murderer. So this cat gets out of prison in 2017. She goes to pick him up, meets him, they hit it off, and they fall completely in love. Let's hear her share some of her experiences in prison.
You know, I just want to share an experience that happened to me when I had to turn myself into prison with only 18 months sobriety. I carried on with my sobriety, but I didn't turn my back on my old friends and especially the youngsters. And I'll never forget one day I woke up that morning and I was just crying thinking of 3 individuals, and I'll just use their nicknames. So, you know, it was Dreamer, Jojo, and Weta. And that morning in the shower I was just crying. And I saw them out on the yard. They were looking for me. And they shared with me. They said, you know, we're not going to lie to you. We're out here looking for pills. And at that moment, my heart broke for them because you could just see in their eyes that they needed something, right? So I didn't lecture them. I didn't judge them. If anything, I told them that just that morning that I was literally crying in the shower because I love them so, so much. So it's that same love, you know, while we deal with all this, you know, we want to stop the burritos because of the drugs and everything. If they're not knowing that they are human, that they matter, that they are loved, and that their life means something, we're going to be dealing with the same problem the next week and the week after and the week after. So while we bring the dogs and we stop the burritos and everything else, what is being done for them as individuals? Maybe we could start looking at moving all the incarcerated youth out of probation and into youth development programs by 2025 as laid out by the Youth Justice Reimagined, and activate the YES teams as alternatives to incarceration and the DYD plan. Those are just some of my recommendations. Thank you.
Why is she so involved in dismantling the probation system? Well, because she has a son. And we know she has a son because she tells us she has a son. Let's hear her talk about him.
You know, it's no secret to anyone that I have a son that at, 18 years old was arrested, and he's, I don't even know, like 40 now because I don't keep up with my age, and the person that he was before he went in is not the person he's labeled as today. You know, I have seen how this system has brought my son to be labeled as the worst of the worst without ever getting to know him when he went in, without ever knowing that at 4 years old, his wish to Santa Claus was that he would have his mother. It wasn't for a Nintendo, or it wasn't for his goal in life was never to be who he's claimed to be at this time.
There you go. So that's why she's so involved, because she has a son. And according to her, he's not a criminal. It's just that the system did not get to know her son. That's why he's incarcerated, because he is an angel. But who is her son? Don't worry, I got you. I'll tell you right now. Johnny Martinez, a Mexican Mafia chief, a head honcho of Sur 13. That's who her son is. Little Johnny was convicted for murder at only 18 years old in 1984. So, Miss Dolores spent 20 years in prison. She got out in 2009. She tells us herself in the video I just played. Little Johnny at 4 years old, wanted his mother home for Christmas. Not a Nintendo, he wanted his mother. And he was 4 years old. So that tells me that Miss Dolores was probably doing some county time. She was probably in and out of county jails for the first 4 years of Johnny's life. Then she got sentenced and served for 20 years in prison. Well, I had to break it to you, Miss Dolores. It's not that the system didn't get to know your son. It's that you never got to know your son. You were not present. You were behind concrete walls, and your son was being raised by the streets. He was convicted for murder in 1994 for the stabbing of another gentleman in Orange County. Now, according to little Johnny, it wasn't him. It was the group that he was with. It was the associates that he was with. He didn't actually stab the dude. He was just with those people, right? Regardless, little Johnny gets sentenced to 24 years in life. Does little Johnny keep his head down while he's incarcerated? No, he doesn't. Now, this information is on this article right here out of East Bay Times. I encourage you to go and listen to this article. You actually don't even have to read it. You could just hit this play button here. Little Johnny did not go into prison and keep his head down. He got into shenanigans. This guy's going to have a pretty thick criminal jacket inside detention institutions. I guarantee it. They have jail phone call recordings of little Johnny saying, I am Curl. I am from La M. You want to live in my fucking turf? You got to be under my guidelines. This cat controls the prison he's in. And he strikes fear. I'm sure that there has been murders committed inside and outside prison walls because of this character. And this is who we have in this commission, Miss Dolores. This lady is actually pushing for the agreement to end all hostilities to be introduced into the LA County Juvenile Halls. Here's her talking about it.
They are actually allowing credible messengers to teach the end of hostilities, which has various areas and racial groups actually coming together and not fighting against each other, but rather how to resolve issues in a different way other than using violence and gaining unity, and then even getting out and getting enrolled in UC Irvine, and just the work that is being done with the follow-up to these youth and their lives and the trajectory of their life is absolutely incredible. But this is
all right. But if you guys don't know what the end of hostility is, it sounds really great. End of hostilities. All the hostilities are going to be over. That's not what it is. The end of hostilities is a document authored by the leaders of organized criminal organizations inside prisons. They authored these documents. The agreement to end all hostilities is the official document that criminal organizations used to spread the word on the new prison politics that every inmate had to abide by. This document sets forth the rules on how they're going to move within prison walls and how crime is going to be conducted. I encourage you to subscribe to learn more about the agreement to end all hostilities. I am planning on doing a few videos to really exposing this document and reviewing it almost paragraph by paragraph and giving you insights and details from career criminals and career detectives. This has been happening since the 80s. And these inmates have been able to use legal documents in our court systems to manipulate, disrupt law enforcement's intent to shut them down. And she wants to push this document in. It is not intended to end hostilities. And this is a document that she wants to set forth. For what? The juvenile halls are already owned by Sur 13. Juvenile halls are already owned by the Mexican Mafia. They already own your children. Stop listening to these people. Stop listening to these commissions. They are the ones that are putting these kids through trauma. Because a lot of the trauma happens through these organizations, happens through this gang violence, happens through manipulation. But we want to put it in juvenile halls. Now, what Ms. Dolores is doing, intentionally or unintentionally, is actually just creating foot soldiers for the Mexican Mafia. That's all you're doing, lady. They're already in juvenile hall. They already have the kids. They already have the kids at 17, at 10, at 8 years old. You don't believe me? Let's walk around the hood.
Nowadays, this generation waters down, fool. I'm not gonna lie.
How old are you?
How old do I look?
Shit, it can range from 17 to 23.
I just turned 17.
You got a face tats and shit.
I got put into the hood like at 13.
It made you want to go get your face and stuff all blasted up.
Oh, cause my brother got it, and then he in jail. He told me get it for him, you know, cause he thought he was gonna do life. He got a pee on his face too, and I got that shit. It's not on no follower shit, just like, you know, out of to represent him, you feel me? And it's low-key like, fool, like, this gang shit, fool, is either embedded in you, fool. It's not even like, oh, you're homies, you feel forced. It's just, it's what around you, you feel comfortable. Some niggas just think this shit cool, fool. But you gotta realize there's more bad days than good days.
When you get your tattoos?
In middle school, fool, I got like, my first ever tattoo was this. It was on the hood. I need to stop being scared. I need to show all this shit. My first ever tattoo was this. I was like 13. I was on the run when I got this shit too.
Who tatted up a 13-year-old?
For one of the homies. It's not like I didn't fucking earn it, you feel me? Those Mandos, you gotta get that.
You seen that one viral video of that kid going around a high-speed chase?
Yeah.
He's from right here.
For real?
Little banger. Let's give this little 8-year-old the agreement to end all hostilities. So he knows how he can conduct himself when he goes into prison. Earlier, she talked about being an expert and she talked about culture. Well, if you're such an expert, well, let's talk about culture. When is this culture going to change? When is the culture at home going to change? When is the culture in the hood going to change? When is that culture going to change? Why don't you join an oversight commission to fix the hood culture that you came from? The decisions that you made affected your son. And it is not because you're systematically affected. It is not because of the system. It's because of the actions and choices that you made. And for now, partners, this is all I got. Remember to hold the line and let's hold them accountable.
When I was young, me and my mama had beef, 17 years old, kicked out on the streets. Though back at the time, I never thought I'd see a